Hey Pokemon fans, Real Mama Eagle here, also known as Key, and today I'll be ranking all of the Pokemon champions from the mainline games from worst to best. The opinions in this video are my own. They're based on the strongest party, versatility, overall style, and coolness of every single champion in all the games. Before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting me know how you would rank all the champions from worst to best. Let's get started. Number 10. Diantha. It's a shame because I actually like Diantha's character. I love the fact that you meet her in the cafe in Lumoy City. She's a movie star. She's so beautiful. She has a glamorous life. She has this great backstory, but then you pretty much don't see her again until you fight her in the champion battle. So a character with great potential, they definitely could have done more with. Her party is also nice, but extremely one-dimensional. She has a Gudra, she has a Gourgeist, she has a Tyrantrum, she has an Aurorus, and she also has a Hawlucha and a Mega Gardevoir. Most of that party you could pretty much wipe out if you have an ice Pokemon, given that weakness is very, very heavy against ice and ground as well. And keep in mind with her Aurorus, you have a ton of plethora there that you can attack because it's got that steel weakness, that fighting weakness that you can take advantage of. Her only real challenge is her Mega Gardevoir, who has great moves like Thunderbolt, Psychic Moonblast, and Shadow Ball, but your ace, your strongest Pokemon, is likely to give you all the help you need with that Mega Gardevoir. Her party being so one-dimensional and so weak compared to others, and her character just not being that memorable definitely makes her worthy of number 10. Number 9. Leon. I know that I am very, very tough on Leon, but that's only because Leon got so much build up by himself, his brother, all the residents of Galar, only for you to go and find out that it's just a very, very underwhelming champion battle. I actually like Leon as a character, love that he's a role model, love that he's involved in the community. So as a person, I actually think Leon is pretty cool. As a trainer, I think Leon is incredibly overweighted and worthy of being at the bottom of the list. His party rotates depending on what starter you choose, but he has 4 consistent Pokemon. He always is going to have his Gigantamax Charizard. He has a Haxorus, a Dragapult, and he also has a Aegislash. Depending on what starter you choose, he's going to have one of the 3 starters, or he's going to have a Seismitoad, a Rhyperior, or a Mr. Rhyme. If you have water, ground, or ice, you're going to pretty much have an easier time with Leon because the majority of his Pokemon are weak to those things. And even though his Gigantamax Charizard is his ace, we do know that Charizard, being fire and flying, does have an amount of exploitable weaknesses you could take advantage. So his ace is not as strong as other aces, even in his Gigantamax form. So being that Leon's party is a bit overhyped and one-dimensional, definitely worthy of number 9. Number 8. Lance. I know, nostalgia, but y'all, we have overhyped Lance this entire time. I get it, he's really cool, he's got a cape, he's dope, he's a great person, helps you stop Team Rocket, very dominating. Love Lance as a character, but we have overrated the heck out of Lance, and he probably has one of the most one-dimensional parties that any champion will have. He has 3 Dragonite, which makes no sense, but what do I know? I don't work for Game Freak. He has an Aerodactyl, a Charizard, and a Gyarados. So if you really think about this party, you can take out his Charizard and his Gyarados with Electric, and then you could take out the other 4 with Ice, which is pretty simple. The only thing that can really get you caught up in this battle is if you don't go for your stronger moves early, because all 6 of his Pokemon know Hyper Beam, and if they get a Hyper Beam off and it does good damage, it could be a pain. That recharge could also save you, so it could work both ways here. But it's one of those things where it's like, as long as you don't let it get too many moves off, you're good. I know some of his Dragonite do have Outrage, which can be a pain because it does build that strength. But again, Ice and Electric. That's all you need, and this is a very easy time. Love Lance, but man, have we overrated him. Number 7. How. I know, I'm shocked to see How up here too, but compared to all the champions we've talked about so far, How actually has a pretty balanced party that does give you a little bit of a challenge. He has a Crabominable, he has an Alolan Raichu, a Tauros, and a Noivern. He also has a starter depending on what starter you chose, and one of the original 3 Eevee evolutions depending on what starter you chose. Pretty much beating How requires you having a balance. If you have all the main elements, fire, water, and electric, represented in your party, along with a little bit of ground or fighting sprinkled in, you're not going to have a super hard time with How. But if you have a more one-dimensional party where you lead towards one type in specific, How can definitely give you a tougher battle. As a person, I actually like How. He really doesn't bother anybody. He just walks around eating. He's not problematic at all. He's kind of just chilling. He doesn't really bug you as much as other rivals do in an annoying way. But he's a cool dude, which is why he's not lower on the list. And I like the fact that even though Gen 7 was an easier gen, they did give How a balanced team that made you strategize a bit. So definitely worthy of number 7. Number 6. Wallace. Wallace is actually one of my favorite champions from pure style and the fact that he has such a cool story. Getting promoted from gym leader to champion, which I adore. A lot of people might wonder why I have Wallace not so low on the list because he's mostly water, But Wallace has water Pokemon with great dual types that makes it a little bit more challenging. Wallace has a Melodic, a Gyarados, a Tentacruel, a Ludicolo, a Wailord, and also a Whiscash, making it a very, very, very versatile party. When you look at the Whiscash in particular, you pretty much need grass to beat it or whittle it down with your ace because it can be tough in battle. Obviously, with the Tentacruel, the Melodic, and the Wailord, you can go the electric route, pure electric route. But the Wailord and Melodic have such good base power when it comes to HP that you may need one or two Thunders or Thunderbolts to take them out. So they are very tanky Pokemon, and they definitely have moves on them that can be very devastating. So this is a challenging battle just because there's so much strength and HP when you're battling all these Pokemon. And that Ludicolo presents a challenge too, being water and grass, makes you think a bit on your toes. But Wallace definitely presented some versatility despite having one type, and I love that creativity. I like the fact that you had to think just a little bit harder because of those dual types of water. Number 5, Alder. Alder's tough to rank simply because when you first go to battle in the Elite Four in Black and White, you battle in and gets this instead of Alder. So you don't face Alder until the rematch. Alder doesn't have the most versatile party, but because you're facing him at mid to level 70s, it can be a challenge whether you have a type advantage or not. Alder has an Escavalier, an Escavalier, a Volcarona, a Bouffalant, a Dredagon, and a Vanillux. Now, it's definitely a party that can be a bit challenging, but with all the bugs in the party, having Ice, Fire, or Flying will take care of those real quick, or Fighting. Fighting will handle the Vanillux or the Bouffalant for you. So you definitely can have some good type advantages here, and the Pokemon are easy to take out. But Alders rank higher simply for the level advantage, which can be a pain unless you're a person that overlevels their Pokemon. One thing I do like about Alder, though, Alder's represented very well in the story, especially Black and White too. Alder's almost seen as a helping hand and a mentor to you, walks around with you, and I like the fact that he's just found chilling out in random areas of Unova, but a really cool personality and someone definitely to look up to. Alder's definitely worthy of top 5. Number 4, Iris. I love Iris so much because she has that Wallace glow up going from gym leader to champion and has a great story. Iris's party is mostly dragon based, but she does have 3 Pokemon that aren't dragon. Iris has an Hydreigon, a Dredagon, a Haxorus, an Archeops, an Aggron, and a Lapras. So a party that definitely has some tankiness to it with very, very, very versatile movesets. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have Ice or Fighting or Dragon, this is likely going to be a battle for you that's not going to be too difficult. But you have to be careful because all our Pokemon combined really have an answer for everything, having moves like Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Earthquake, so on and so forth. So you may think you're bringing out a Pokemon to take out that type advantage, but that Pokemon then has an answer for the Pokemon you just brought out. Iris also has a pretty decent level advantage, being in the high 50s, and depending on your Pokemon, you may be around that. So with the tankiness, it could be a very tough battle. But Iris has a great story in addition to being a previous Dragon Gym leader, then going to a Dragon Champion, but also being sort of like the historian, the person that knows so much about Uplicit City and Black and White, which is pretty neat. And I love the representation. Always love seeing a young Black character, but a young, strong Black character being a champion, which was really, really awesome. Iris is definitely worthy of top 4. Number 3, Blue. But y'all know I like to call him Gary. Blue definitely is one of those champions that has held up so well over time because Blue still has one of the more versatile parties of a champion in the entire series. Blue always has a Rhydon, always has a Pidgeot, Alakazam. Now the starter rotate depending on which starter you chose, and that also determines if it'll have an Arcanine, Executor, or a Gyarados as well. So very versatile. But Gary pretty much has all the major elements and a Psychic type and a Rock type and Ground type, which makes it very, very tough. If you don't have a balanced party, Gary Blue can give you a very, very tough battle. The only thing that Blue has working against him is the fact that because it's Gen 1, the learn sets are kind of trash. Even though Blue's Pokemon are like level 59, 60-ish, you're going to see Pokemon that still have like Leer and Horn Attack and moves that aren't particularly great. So that's the one advantage, the fact that he doesn't have super, super strong moves. If he had super strong moves, he potentially could have been higher on this list, but that's what holds him back. But again, the balance with typing overall and the fact that you really have to have your balance in your party to beat Blue makes Blue a top 3 champion. Number 2, Steven. Steven is one of my favorite champions for the simple fact that he doesn't have the most versatile team, but he knows how to work it. He knows how to whittle down a battle with strong moves and Pokemon that are very intimidating. Steven has an Omlato, a Cradily, a Skarmory, an Aggron, Metagross, and you know it's a Mega Metagross in a remake, and also has a Claydol as well. So it's a very tough and intimidating party with some very solid base stat totals. What makes it really annoying to fight Steven is the fact that he will whittle it out with moves that poison you, with spikes, and moves like Reflect that can definitely take away the true power of your moves, allowing him to get his big hits in. Steven's definitely challenging for those reasons alone. I also like Steven too because you see Steven out and about in Hoenn I love the fact that you have that situation, that conversation with him in Moss Deep City. You find him in the Duford Cave. There's a lot to be loved about Steven just because he's always in the community and he's definitely someone that is almost like a mentor to you. Steven is definitely worthy of top 2. Number 1, Cynthia. Duh. Was there any question? Cynthia is still the hardest champion of all time, and I still get a little bit of chills when I hear this music because it's just intimidating. Even that soft piano when you walk up to Cynthia, you know it's about to be a tough time. We all know about Cynthia's party. She has a Spiritomb, a Togekiss, a Roserade, a Lucario, Garchomp, and a Melodic. I had to side with Garchomp because Garchomp, even as a kid, took years off my life. And what's really wild is that Cynthia already has high levels, an answer for everything, a very balanced party with great held items. But Cynthia also now in the remix has coverage for Fairy. You walk up thinking, okay, I'm gonna take out her Garchomp with my Fairy typing, but she's like, nope. I got Steel coverage. I got Poison coverage with Roserade. It's over for you. And they buffed her in the remake and made her twice as hard. The fact that all of her Pokemon have just such great moves. You even have the Melodic that has Scald, but also has like the Flame Orb. That's just disrespectful. There's just so many things that make that a very frustrating battle. Funny story, when I played the Gen 4 remix, I actually won because the last Pokemon she had out was Garchomp. I literally beat Garchomp because of the hail. Otherwise, I would have been toast. But it's always a tough battle with Cynthia. And Cynthia's a great person, a humanitarian. You see her out in the community. Love the story with her grandma. Love that she helps you early on in Eterna City. She's a great person, even though she gives you the hardest battle. And for the love of God, if you play Black and White, do not go into that villa in Undella Town or you will regret it. If Cynthia's not top 1 on your list, I have questions. Do you agree or disagree? I want to know how you would rank all the Pokemon champions from worst to best. Maybe there's a point about a champion that I may have missed, but I want to hear it. Talk to me in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ding that bell so you know when videos are going up. Don't forget I'm also Real Mama Eagle on all social media platforms, and I do live streams at twitch.tv/RealMamaEagle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.